Welcome to Star Trek Selections, The Next Generation. Today I will be discussing my top 5 episodes of Season 4. Number 5, Remember Me, written by Lee Sheldon and directed by Cliff Bole. Dr. Beverly Crusher welcomes her mentor, Dr. Dalen Quace, aboard the Enterprise. Meanwhile, Wesley is in engineering, attempting to create a static warp bubble. When Beverly tries to locate Dr. Quace, there is no record of him ever being aboard the ship, or even existing at all. Soon, the rest of the crew start being erased from existence one after the other. Theorizing that it has something to do with Wesley's experiments, she tries to get the crew to help her figure out what's happening, even though they have no memory at all of the ever-increasing missing crew members. She is soon left alone with Picard, who also vanishes soon after, leaving Beverly with only the ship's computer to help her understand why she is now alone in a quickly collapsing universe. This is my favourite episode revolving around Dr. Crusher. She unfortunately did not get many good opportunities throughout the run of the show, and Gates McFadden does an excellent job carrying it on her shoulders. Director Cliff Bole, in concert with Marvin Rush's atmospheric photography, creates the perfect tone and gives the episode an almost Hitchcockian feel at times, while also evoking shades of The Twilight Zone, an episode of which, and When the Sky Was Opened, could very well have been a major influence on Sheldon's script. Well-paced, well-written, well-performed, with some of TNG's better visual effects sequences to boot, Remember Me is one of my favourite episodes of The Next Generation's 4th season. Number 4, Qpid, directed once again by Cliff Bole and written by Ira Stephen Bear from a story by Bear and Randy Russell. Before watching this episode, it's best to check the Season 3 episodes Deja Q and Captain's Holiday. As Captain Picard is preparing for an archaeology symposium, his old flame from Captain's Holiday, Vash, Jennifer Hetrick, turns up on the Enterprise and is dismayed to learn that no one on the crew has ever heard of her, which causes a bit of a rift between she and the captain. And then John Delancey's Q turns up again, insisting he owes Picard a debt for helping him regain his powers during the events of Deja Q. Observing what has been going on with Picard and Vash, he decides the best way to repay his debt is to create a world where Vash, Picard, and the senior officers are characters from the story of Robin Hood. Picard is of course Robin, Vash Maid Marian, Riker Little John, Data Friar Tuck, and most hilariously Worf as Will Scarlet.
I protest. I am not a merry man.
Michael Dorn is having a great episode here. Just some fun Worf moments scattered throughout, such as checking out Vash's legs and smashing Geordie's loot a la Animal House. Anyway, Q, making himself the Sheriff of Nottingham, has devised this scenario to get Picard to admit the depth of his feelings for Vash by getting him to rescue her from the clutches of the evil Sir Guy of Gisborne. This is just such a fun episode. Patrick Stewart puts all that classical training on display, going full swashbuckler, and has a blast doing it. Hetrick's Vash is an excellent match for him, always challenging him, and it's a great one for John Delancey too. Not only that, it looks fantastic, with sets and costumes that rival almost any production of Robin Hood. And as one of the funniest episodes of Next Gen, it deserves its place as one of my favourite Season 4 episodes. Number 3, Clues, directed by Les Landau, story by Bruce D. Arthurs, and written by Arthurs and Joe Manosky. The Enterprise picks up on an M-class planet, but when they go to check it out, they are all knocked unconscious and apparently transported away through a wormhole. Data confirms this and says they were all unconscious for about 30 seconds, and that the wormhole had transported them a full day's travel away from where they were. However, certain inconsistencies crop up, such as Dr. Crusher's moss samples, which have shown a full day's growth, Worf's mysterious broken wrist, and Councillor Troy's disturbing feelings. As Data attempts to explain these anomalies, the crew become suspicious of him, and these suspicions lead them back to where the incident occurred, even though Picard has begun to suspect that Data's apparent subterfuge has been in order to protect them. Their arrival reveals the truth. It is a well-crafted story, so anyone who has not seen it should not have the ending spoiled. Clues is an excellent ensemble episode, with notable contributions from Gates McFadden's Dr. Crusher, whose curiosity gets the mystery ball rolling, and McFadden's performance is full of excitement and enthusiasm for solving the riddle of their situation. Likewise, Patrick Stewart's Picard, a detective story aficionado, also seems to take a bit of pleasure in the mystery until it appears to become a threat to them and to Data's reputation. And Brent Spiner as Data manages to look suspicious without letting any tangible trace of deception appear in his demeanour. I mentioned it a couple of times before, but it bears repeating. Spiner's ability to subtly demonstrate the right tone and expression devoid of emotion is exceptional and key to the success of the episode. For my money, one of the best of TNG Season 4. Number 2, First Contact. Directed by Cliff Bowl yet again, and written by, here we go, Dennis Russell Bailey, Joe Manosky, Ronald D. Moore, and Michael Piller. Story by Mark Scott Zicree. The namesake of what is for me the greatest ever Star Trek movie is an episode about the Enterprise making first contact with the people of Malcor 3, who are on the verge of warp travel. They are forced to speed up contact when Riker, disguised as a Malcorian, is injured and taken to a Malcorian hospital, where his alien physiology stirs up some trouble. Picard and Troy make themselves known to lead warp scientist Marasta Yale, played by Carolyn Seymour, who is exhilarated by the knowledge of life outside her world, but warns to be cautious, since Malcorian society is somewhat divided, and their leader, Chancellor Durkin, George Coe, will be open-minded, yet wary of their arrival. This proves accurate when Picard meets Durkin. He is cautious, yet intrigued. However, when Riker's existence is discovered, it is seen as deceitful, and though Picard eases Durkin's concerns, Minister Kroller, your standard conservative fearmonger, attempts to frame Riker by shooting himself with Riker's phaser, which is fortunately set on stun. This incident, however, forces Durkin to ask Picard to leave. Riker is retrieved, and Marasta asks to stay aboard the Enterprise, since her forward-thinking attitude will be stifled by the slower approach to progress Durkin will be forced to impose. First Contact is an excellent exploration of the ideals of United Federation of Planets, and also, by showing Malcorian society, a reflection of the political landscape of the Earth of our time, expertly demonstrating where we are and where we could one day be. The many authors of this piece came together admirably to create a thoughtful, engaging script, and along with some excellent work from Jonathan Frakes and Patrick Stewart, the guest cast is outstanding. Carolyn Seymour is dynamic and passionate as Marasta, and George Coe delivers a sensitive, nuanced portrayal of a wise and pragmatic leader. Plus, there is a fantastic little cameo by Bebe Neuwirth as a horny nurse who will help Riker escape if he lets her live out her fantasy of having sex with an alien. One of the lighter moments of a very serious and intelligent episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. Damn near my favourite episode of Season 4. Number 1, The Drumhead. Written by Jerry Taylor and directed by Jonathan Frakes. When there is an explosion aboard the Enterprise, and it appears to be sabotage, Starfleet sends retired Admiral Nora Satie, the legendary Gene Simmons, to investigate. A Klingon, Jadan, is found to be collaborating with the Romulans, but denies being responsible for the explosion. During the course of the investigation, Satie suspects that Jadan had an accomplice and interrogates anyone who interacted with Jadan, including Dr. Crusher and medical technician Simon Tarsis, Spencer Garrett. But when Data and Geordi discover that the explosion was due to the simple failure of a hatch, Picard calls for the investigation to end. However, Satie doubles down on her conspiracy theory and takes it to the extreme, roasting Tarsis on the stand and even questioning the loyalties of Captain Picard. The Drumhead is for me one of the most thought-provoking, well-written and performed episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. Writer Jerry Taylor, who would go on to co-create Star Trek Voyager, my all-time favourite show, delivers a beautifully crafted exploration of how simple it is for individual freedom to be impinged upon in the name of the law, and how coincidence and circumstance can be manipulated to fit into a conspiracy theory. And Jonathan Frakes, again excelling in the director's chair, gives us a perfectly paced rendition of that script. And the performances are nothing short of some of the best of the series overall. Spencer Garrett as Tarsis shows a lot of sensitivity and vulnerability. Michael Dorn's Worf has a compelling role in the story, First, the willing participant in the gradually deteriorating investigation, soon realizing the error of his ways. Michael Dorn has even stated that this was his favourite episode of the series. And Gene Simmons gives one of her greatest performances as Nora Satie, a complex and thankless role of the once great legal mind driven by the need to live up to her legendary father, who descends into an obsessive, biased blight on the legal landscape. And then we have Patrick Stewart, who once again delivers a Picard performance brimming with authority, sensitivity, and moral fortitude in easily my favourite episode of the 4th season of Star Trek The Next Generation.
With the first link, the chain is forged. The first speech censured, the first thought forbidden, the first freedom denied, chains us all irrevocably. Those words were uttered by Judge Aaron Satie.
Join me next time on Star Trek Selections, when I will be looking at Season 5 of The Next Generation. Make it so.